say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Michigan SBDC for your relationship, your partnership, and what you mean to our communities here locally and here statewide.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining in to another episode of Meet the Contestants Behind the Pitch, where we talk to actual pitch competition winners who've won at either the local, state, or national level. Today, we're actually going to feature two student pitch competition winners in this last episode of the year to get their perspectives and to pull back the veil, so to speak, of things that they have learned, the experiences that they went through, and a little bit of tips and tricks on how they won pitch competitions over the course of the years. Hi, my name is Ed Garner. I'm the Regional Director with the Michigan Small Business Development Center. And to start off, we just want to tell you a little bit about us because the SBDC is funded through the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Michigan Economic Developers Corporation at the state level, and then we also get funding through our local host. So that's how we fund it. So therefore, none of our services that we provide, you have to pay for. They're all at no cost because of our funding partners. Now, the SBDC, we provide a variety of services. Our three basic ones are our no-cost, confidential one-on-one business consulting. We also do secondary market research for companies. And we do a lot of education and training programs as well, and programs such as today to bring you informative information that could possibly help your business or your business operations. We also are involved in technology commercialization services as well and have a variety of specialty teams, such as our new AI team, our export team, and our cybersecurity team. Now, after today's broadcast, if you do want to connect with us, the way you do so is go to our website at michigansbdc.org. You'll see a blue button there where you can register to meet with a consultant to talk about any aspects of your business needs. So feel free to do that and also peruse the website while you're there because it tells you, once again, all about our services. And really, there's a lot of other information and templates there and stuff that you can use that can help your business operations. So great. So with that, I'm going to bring on our first guest because we got two guests for you today. So our first guest that we're going to bring on, she's a student here at Grand Valley State University. I would like to bring to the stage Mia Heimbaugh. And you can see here, Mia this is one of her business interests here, Ether. She's won several pitch competitions as well, as you can see there. And we're going to be hearing from her today about her experiences going through some of these competitions. So I'd like to bring to the stage this time, Mia Heimbaugh.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Mia. Hey, Mia, no, don't pitch that. Okay. We just want to introduce you. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Okay, great. So super. So before you get to your introduction, we always have a little trick here on these shows. We have people introduce themselves by way of giving a 1 minute up to a 1 minute pitch about them or their business. So we're going to let you do that as by way of introducing yourself because we are talking about pitch competition. So we want to see what you got right at the beginning. So we're going to blow you up on the screen. And once we do that, you can get started with your 1 minute intro pitch.
All right, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Mia Heimbaugh, and my first pitch competition, I produced Aether. Aether turns pollution into possibility. Aether's solution is a direct air capture unit with a modular design that is powered strictly by solar energy. These units capture CO2, liquefy them, and then sell them to industries that need them, such as food and beverage, synthetic fuel production, and manufacturing. Unlike traditional carbon capture, Aether is scalable, decentralized, and built for integration in city environments. By targeting these urban areas where pollution and heat island effects are most prominent, Aether aims to enhance local air quality while contributing to global emissions reduction. To summarize, Aether creates a circular economy where CO2 emissions become valuable assets.
Oh, that was great. That was fantastic. Now, I wasn't timing you, but I think you started in your minute limit. So one of the first points we always tell people about pitch competitions. Normally, they're like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or something like that. And we always advise people to never go over the time limit with a pitch competition. Because you know what? If you run out of time, you may have forgot to say something important that you wanted to get across. And the judges may want to ask about it. So you may have missed a vital point if you go over your allotted time, and you did perfect with that.
Thank
so
you.
Great. All right. So next up, we're gonna put you backstage and bring up next up our next guest for the show, Mohamed Hagras. Mohamed is over on the east side of the state. He went to Eastern Michigan University, as you can see. His business is Rasta, and you can see several pitch competitions that they've been in as well. These are not the only ones they've been in. These are ones that they maybe are placed or ones, but these folks have been in other pitch competitions besides that. They didn't win them all. We want to bring him to the stage and have him come on and introduce himself. So we'll bring him onto the stage. So Mohamed, how are you this afternoon?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay, great. We certainly appreciate you being on the show. I'm hoping some of your Eastern Michigan University buddies are tuning in, or your Eastern Michigan family. And I hope a bunch of other students are tuning in as well. Even though we have students today, this is not just for students. This is for anybody that's looking to get in a pitch competition, never been in a pitch competition, been in one and trying to get better. It's for all of you guys out there for that. But we wanted to focus on a few students today because we hadn't done that in the past. So as we did with Mia, Mohamed, we want you to introduce your business and you to us by way of a up to 1 minute pitch. So we're going to bring you on screen by yourself. And once we do so, you can begin to do your 1 minute pitch.
Of course, let's do this. Okay. Imagine you're in a classroom and a gunshot goes off. Every second could mean another life lost. Today, schools rely on recognizing the sound, dialing 911, and explaining the threat, a process that takes minutes. Rasta changed that. Our device uses sound-based AI to detect a gunshot, pinpoint its location in under 1 second. Alerts go straight to the dispatch center and school staff, instantly with no cameras and no privacy issues. We have tested in live fire scenarios with the police, and schools in Michigan are preparing to pilot our system. The school safety market is worth billions, but for this, it's more important to us the impact, giving students and teachers the time they need to survive. With Rasta, we're not waiting for a call. We're saving lives. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Once again, I think you stayed in your 1 minute as well. And I like the fact that you actually showed your product, which is what we tell people to also do too. If you get the opportunity to demonstrate your product, to show your product, it only puts a little, more depth and knowledge of and understanding of what people what people are trying to get across, what you're trying to get across to your judges. So at this time, let's bring back Mia and get both our contestants on stage, our winners. They're not contestants anymore. They're winners, and so we always thought it'd be nice to hear from actual winners. These are not people who just tried and failed. These are people that actually won, but they, like I said, they have entered multiple ones, some of which they did not win. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, as well as the ones that they did win. So great. So I just want to start out. So Mohamed, I'll start out with you. So we talked about what college that you're in. So you go over at Eastern Michigan University, and you are currently a junior now, right, on your second major, I believe. But yeah, is that what major are you in? Field are you in right now?
So I'm doing a double major. I'm doing electrical engineering and entrepreneurship. So it's a business and an engineering degree.
Okay, super. So you got a double major going on. And then Mia, and you're at Grand Valley State University. And what are you majoring in right now?
I am majoring in management information systems with a minor in environmental and sustainability studies.
Oh, okay, great. And I believe you're a senior this year right now. You're a senior?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay, great. So you'll be graduating soon and going out into the world. These ideas you guys talked about, these are some game changers. We're not talking little stuff out here, and environmental concerns, safety concerns, and stuff. This is stuff that can really change the world. So I'm impressed right off the gate by the ideas themselves. Now, Mohamed, tell me. So your idea, your idea is you're still trying to market it right now, right? So it's not on the marketplace right now.
Yeah, it's not in the market yet. We're in the phase of doing pilot program and free trials with schools before starting to have like sales.
Okay, great. And then we go in schools, malls, any kind of private building as such, right? To get that early warning system there. So I think important. Every day we're hearing about an active shooter situation somewhere on a college campus or something like that, or other buildings and malls and venues and stuff. So this could be a practical advice to help save lives potentially. So that's great. So Tim, Mia, I want to ask you what motivated you to even want to decide to get in a pitch competition? Now, money is always a motivator. I know, so you can say, well, it was $5,000 on the table. That's why. But let's take the money off the table. What motivated you to even want to enter one? Did somebody encourage you, or did you just see other people doing it, or what? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a part of the Seedman Mentorship Program at Grand Valley as well. And my mentor, she was heavily involved in the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And she's done pitch competitions before. And I was telling her that I love innovation, I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. And she was like, first of all, you need to go to the CEI Center. And second of all, you need to sign up for a pitch competition. And I remember looking at her being like, absolutely not. Like, no way, that is not my thing. And she was like, no, like, I know you can do it. So I signed up for one and then a second one.
Okay, great. So you were encouraged to do it. Mohamed, were you encouraged to apply for your first one, or did you just kind of come by it on yourself? How did that happen?
And actually, I was very encouraged. I was like I wanted really to share our idea with the world and get feedback on my skills and how to present the idea and talk about it. And I saw it also a good way to accelerate our startup and have more publicity. So that was what motivated me for this.
Oh, okay, great. Do you guys have an entrepreneur center down at Eastern Michigan University?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
okay, so you're involved in Entrepreneur Center. Mia, you're involved with the Entrepreneur Center at Grand Valley as well?
Yes.
Okay, so would you recommend, if there's a student out there, would you recommend that's a good place to start with? They got a business idea?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you walk in and there's immediately advertisings for pitch competitions, but there's always someone in there who's done a pitch competition or has a small business or wants to do a startup. And we have a director there who's fantastic as well, who I remember having a meeting with about these pitch competitions, and they host workshops that help you refine your pitch and connect with other students who also want to build startups.
Okay, great. So if you're a student out there, or a student out there, they have a business idea, tell them a good place to start is to connect with see if their college or university has an entrepreneur center that they can kind of get connected to. Would be great advice to do so. Most of the SBDC offices, we have like 10 regional offices scattered throughout the state. I manage the west side of the state, the West Michigan region office, but I got 9 other counterparts, and most of us are connected with the entrepreneur centers at the colleges and universities. So yeah, they're a good place to get connected with both them and us as well, both which can help you kind of with your endeavors and trying to go for pitch competitions. So that's great. So I'm glad both of you guys were involved. And so is that the price? So these Center for Entrepreneurships, was it the primary place that you guys found out about pitch competitions, or was there other places that you found out about them? So Mohamed, was that primarily where you found out about the competitions that you're in, through the Center for Entrepreneurship?
No, not really. Usually, how I found about it was either like word of mouth from other founders, or from my co-founder, and that was for the first one. Later, I started to search for them on Google and find out more about it. But I remember the first one was usually it was more of word of mouth.
Okay, great. And Mia, how did you find out about the competitions you were in?
Yeah, so for me, it was through the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Grand Valley, and through my mentor. Like, she told me about 5x5 night in Grand Rapids, and eventually when I started working for a startup in Grand Rapids, they also mentioned it, and I know they've done pitch competitions there as well.
Okay, what is 5x5 night?
5x5, so it's 5 minutes to win $5,000, and I'm pretty positive anybody can sign up. It's through Start Garden.
Okay, great. What is Start Garden?
Start Garden is, correct me if I'm wrong, if you do know, but I want to say it's like the Center for Entrepreneurship, more for Grand Rapids itself.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they do Start Garden. I'm gonna throw a plug out for Start Garden, because the last show we had Start Garden winners, past winners on the show, and Start Garden does this big competition that's called the Start Garden 100. I just call it the SG 100, but it's called the Start Garden 100, where they actually award anybody can apply in the whole state. And you just submit a video submission. You get only about 90 seconds to do so, minute and a half or so. Well, you get 100 seconds, so this is a little bit over a minute and a half. And they award the first 100 people, they give them $1,000 right off the gate to kind of develop their ideas. And then those 100 get invited back to for a demo day, in which they meet with judges, and 10 of those win $20,000. So that's $100,000 on the first round to give out, and $200,000 in the second round. So all together, it's over $300,000. So that's a lot of money. So we encourage people, if you haven't heard of that one, just Google Start Garden, just like gardening, Start Garden, and you'll be able to find out about that pitch competition. And that these 5x5 nights they do kind of in between, kind of every month, but the big one they do is once a year, and normally opens up in the spring or so, and then it winds up going through the early fall before they do the demo day. So good chance to win a good deal of money. One of the bigger pitch competitions in the state, the stuff itself. So Mia, how many pitch competitions have you been in?
I have done 3 pitch competitions.
3. And so I think on the first slide we had you there for 3 now. So you won something in every 3 that you've been in. Is that correct?
So my first one, I won first place. My second one is a bit of a longer story. I was one of the finalists out of, I think maybe around 50 students. I placed top 7. And so I was able to be one of the students that did pitch.
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't actually end up completing my pitch there, and maybe that's a story for later. And my third competition, I pitched internationally at the European Innovation Academy with my team there. Okay,
super. So you did 3. So, well, since you bring it up, let's get into it. Let's talk about that second one, where it sounds like something went a little wrong there. So that you say you didn't complete the pitch. So what happened?
So it was 77 Idea Quest, which is hosted by Grand Valley. And I know they're doing it again this year, so hopefully maybe I can have some kind of redemption. However, I had the opportunity to pitch and I dropped my one-liner, and maybe I was just intimidated by how good it was that I froze up and I actually ended up walking off stage. Not something I'm proud of, still very embarrassed about it. Luckily, I had a really good support system to help guide me through it. I learned a lot from it as well. For me, my struggle was not having my note cards and memorization, which, if I could give any tip, it's don't memorize your script. As long as you know your product and your business model, you can pitch your idea. And that's something I wish I knew then.
Oh, okay, great. That's a good tip. So, and that one, how long was that pitch for?
That one was only 3 minutes.
That was a 3-minute pitch on there stuff. And you really was just trying to go from memory for the 3 minutes. You didn't use any note cards, anything is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I had a whole script. My roommate could tell you about it, but I reiterated this script, this 3-minute script, to her for probably 2 hours straight for like a week. And I mean, afterwards, I could still reiterate the entire script. It's just being in front of all those people. When you're nervous, you forget everything. So it's important that you do know your own product.
Yeah. So let's talk about, so Mohamed, tell me this. When you did your first pitch, were you a little nervous? Well, what was going through your head kind of when you had to get up on that stage? You know, other people may have came before you. Now it's your turn. You know, you get up there, you're looking out at the audience, everybody's looking at you. You know, so well, how did you feel? Were you excited, nervous? Were you calm? What was going through your head at that point?
Yeah, so my first one was the worst one out of all of the competitions that I joined. I remember I was there late and I was very nervous. Everyone was there. I didn't memorize my pitch, but I also didn't know what I'm gonna say. So it was I had a few pieces of paper that I was reading off from. I remember feeling very nervous, but I also remember that by the end of it, I was very relieved, and I felt that I did way better than what I expected actually.
Okay, great. So what I'm hearing is that, you know, it sounds like just being nervous is a part of the process. I would say and this is my personal opinion, I don't think if anybody's not a little bit nervous or anxious or something, probably something's wrong with them. Normally, you know, once you get up there and get going, you know, you kind of catch your flow. But a little anxiety, that's not a bad thing. So if you're out there and you're nervous about pitching, don't worry about it. Everybody's got a little bit of nervousness in them, even if they don't show it. You know, it's and so all your other contestants you're going against are going through the same emotions you are. So don't let that hold you back, that you're nervous. They said, no, public speaking is next to, death almost for some people, you know, because they're just that afraid to get up and speak in front of an audience. One-on-one, they perfectly fine, but getting in and speaking in front of a crowd, it does take some practice, you know, and things to do. But anybody can do it. You just have to kind of calm yourself down. I think, Mia, you said a great point. Just, you know your product, know your business. What you know, and it's just like talking to somebody that stopped you in the corner that said, hey, tell me about your business. You should know it I think that well. So tell me, Mohamed, what did you learn from your first pitch competition to because you've been 5, right? 5 competitions. So what did you learn from your first one to your last one? What things have you said you learned or improved on?
So one of the most important things that I've learned is that it's all about practice and preparation. The more you're prepared for the pitch, the more you will do better, or at least you won't be nervous before performing, because I call it actually a performance. It's more of a performance than talking about the business. If you perform better, you have higher chances of winning in the competition. So I think the most important thing is preparation and practice. Practice saying it out loud with having the timing also. So.
Preparation and practice. Those are 2 good points. But Mia, it sounds like even though you had practiced a lot on your second one, it's still, things still could go wrong. So tell me, you hit on one point, but did you learn anything additional from your first pitch to the last pitches that you're in? Have you
Yeah. So it's very interesting because the first one I ever did, I won first place, which I was shocked about. The second one, I walk off stage, and the third one was international. So definitely a very wide variety. The audiences for them as well, and the length of all of them were completely different too.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to cater to that as well and making sure I always hit under that time limit has been something that I've worked on significantly. I think when I first did my 10-minute one, I actually went over 10 minutes pitching my idea. So I've definitely learned the importance of like stressing time, making sure I get all my points across on certain slides in under a few minutes, or under a minute if need be. Another thing I have learned for my most recent pitch competition is I was working with my director in Portugal, and once again, I was memorizing. I was reading off a note card and reading these bullet points, and she was like, stop. She was like, just tell me your idea really quick. And I was like, okay. So I told her, and she was like, that's exactly what you need to do. She was like, just talk to me. You know what you're talking about. And from then on, every time I public speak, I just think I'm having a conversation with a friend or family member.
Okay, great. So let's go back. You won that first pitch competition, and so going into the second one, would you say you felt a little overconfident going into that second one because you won that first one out the gate?
Actually, no. I would say I felt a lot more pressure to win, and it was less like overconfidence, maybe just like the pressure to be perfect and make sure I win again because I've already won once. I guess you could call that overconfidence, but for me, I felt more anxious about it because I didn't want to disappoint people too. Because I won my first one, I asked like more of my friends to come and like be in the audience. Okay. So it was humiliating to say the least.
Okay. Well, what you mentioned the support you got after that one where you didn't do as well and stuff. So is that what kind of gave you the courage to kind of get back out there, or were you just like, well, anyway, some people don't need encouragement. They'll just say, well, hey, I slipped and fell, I'm gonna get back up. Other people, it could be devastating enough where they say, hey, I tried that, I'm not ever doing that again. So what encouraged you to get, how did you get over that to have the courage to get back on the horse, so to speak?
So I could have looked at that situation and been like, wow, I failed, I'm never doing this again. But I only would have failed if I stopped doing it. Aether was something I was really, really passionate about, and sustainability and environmental issues. And that's not something I am willing to give up on. So that is something that kept me going, along with the support I got from everybody else. Like people who were there reached out to me and they're like, hey, just wanted to make sure you're okay. Like I thought everybody would have been like super judgmental, but everyone was there to support me and just wanted to check in on me. So that was also very helpful.
Okay, great. So if you're out there listening, once again, having that support system is always good. If you slip and trip, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, nobody's perfect. Just keep that in mind. If you don't do as well, when anytime I can probably give a speech or something like that, it seems like it's always something you go back in hindsight and say, I could have said that a little bit better. I could have did that a little bit concise. I could have said that a little bit more, intuitively or something. There's always going to be kind of something, I call it, you left on the table that you figured you could have done better. Here's the trick. Here's the trick to that. Nobody knows that but you. So nobody knows you meant to say this, but you said that. All they know is you said that, and they just think that's what you meant to say. So don't let that get you down because you're like, oh, darn it, I forgot to get that, forgot to say this, forgot to say that. Because sometimes there's always a little point or two that you may have missed, and your time may be running out. You may forget about it or something. So don't let the fret. Just keep going. Keep going like nothing has happened, and nobody will ever know but you, and maybe the person you practice with or something like that. They like, oh, Mia, you forgot to say, we practice that. So Mohamed, I want to ask you, so with your business, you got a partner in your business, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you guys determine like who was going to pitch, or did like when you're pitching, did both you guys pitch together at one point, and now one of you guys are just pitching, or did you appoint somebody? How'd you come down to who's going to pitch, for your monies?
Yeah, so how it happened, so it was him who did it first, like my co-founder who did the first pitch, and then later, like I think he assigned this role to me to do the future competition.
Okay, did he feel like you would present better, or just knew the product better, or
It was more of like it was because like we also somehow divided the tasks that we should do. He's more into the technical part of the project and like the engineering, and I'm more in the business side, like the marketing, sales, and presenting the company to the public. So it was more of my assigned role to do.
Okay. Yeah, I found that a lot of times when we have multiple partners in the business, sometimes like partners that both people try to pitch, but we found it relatively hard to do sometimes in a 5-minute pitch, where both people are trying to cover certain things. You can do it, but you have to be real smooth with it and definitely have to practice with it. Most of the time, I've found that people eventually find what they consider the better presenter, and they do the pitching, and maybe the other ones, if they got product samples or something like that, they do something else, but one person is speaking, because it's just hard to get everything. I get the rhythm with trying to go back and forth between two people. So Mia, would you say that's true? Have you ever pitched like with somebody like that in the team?
Yeah. So for the European Innovation Academy, we had 5 people on our team, and we had a 5-minute pitch. We knew not every single person on our team was going to be able to talk. So they designated me because I was the only one who had done pitch competitions before, and I spoke on behalf of the team.
Okay, great. So to my point, like I said, it's just hard to get it all in with multiple people and get it, get the message across smoothly and stuff. So if you got partners out there, that's just something to think about. We're not saying to go. I'm not trying to advise one way or the other. It's just something to think about if you're in it with a partner or something like that. Oftentimes we have like husband and wife teams, or two people that are friends or something like that kind of came up with that idea and working on it. And one's a get pitch man and one's a get product man. And so it's kind of like learning your lane and kind of staying with the best lane you're in to convey the business idea across to. So Mohamed, I want to turn to you for a second, because you've been in 5 competitions. So that means some you won, some you lost. So you heard Mia say she won her first one right out the gate. Did you win your first one right out the gate?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, how many out of the 5? Kind of what was the order? How did you have to do 2 and then won one, or you won the second one or third one? When did you win that first one?
Actually, there are 4. So I like the first one I didn't win, and then I won the 2 competitions. They were the same week, and then the last one I lost. So I lost the first and the last one, and the 2 in the middle I won.
Okay, great. So were there any other 5? Let me ask you this. It's kind of both of you guys. Were there any competitions where you're kind of surprised, where you thought maybe you should have won but didn't win? Like how did I win that? I did a great presentation. My pitch was great. Was it one of those 4 or 5, Mohamed, that you thought you should have won?
Yeah, the last one I think I should have won, but I didn't win. But that's because there was some technical difficulties that was happening in the competition, like the mic wasn't working properly, and then the presentation for some reason closed while I'm at the middle of the pitch. So all of these things are factors that can stress the person who's performing. But I didn't take it that seriously. It wasn't like, no, I shouldn't. I just accepted it. But yeah, these things happen. I think while someone is presenting, if like something technical happens, it can be very distracting.
So I hate technical difficulties. I hate it when the mic goes out or the PowerPoint won't advance or something like that. That's always an unforeseen situation there. But let's talk about presentation materials that you guys have to use. So in most of the competitions, were you guys working off a slide deck, or did you just have the note cards were allowed, or did you just have to memorize? Like sometimes with 1 minute pitches, you don't get to have a slide deck. You kind of just have to get up there and talk, talking. Now, those are mostly idea pitches I've seen when people are just pitching ideas. But most of them, if it's 3-5 minutes or so, oftentimes they will allow you to have kind of a slide deck. So, Mia, did you use a slide deck most of yours at all?
Yes. So I was able to use a slide deck in all of them. I usually capped it around 7 slides. The first was the brand itself. The last was usually a thank you with my own information. Progressively, since my first one, it had so much information. So everyone's just sitting there reading my slides instead of actually paying attention to me. Whereas I learned on my very last one, I had maybe 1 sentence on the slide, and then people are actually paying attention to what you're saying. And I found that more helpful.
Okay, so let's go over that point again, because I think you hit on an important one. You said on your slides originally you had a bunch of wording. It was a lot there for people to comprehend, and you felt they were more just reading your slides and not listening to you, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Found later on it was better that less was more. Actually, that you had less on the slide and you kind of described more what that was about. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great. What about visuals? What kind of visuals did you wind up using for your?
So for Aether, I focused heavily on like the pollution part. So it would be stark contrast between like a very polluted city and people wearing masks versus my solution, which I used. I just typed in the description of Aether, so modular, compact carbon capture unit for urban environments, and AI generated something for me. So for the long time, that was my photo of my product. And I would say those are typically the images I used. Otherwise, I'd use occasional elements when I needed to talk about money to represent financials and do like the dollar sign. But I would say I limited my imagery as I went on, honestly.
Okay. Where'd you pull most of that imagery from? Did you use, you said you put some in AI, but did you use tools like Canva or anything like that? Or
so I use Canva for all my slide decks because there's so many wonderful templates on there. And I also am very well-versed in Canva.
Okay, great. So I know a lot of people, they may just use a standard use PowerPoint to do it. Some are using Canva and using some other tools to pull that deck together. And how many slides did you have in your deck for the? So was this for like a 3-minute or 5-minute pitch that you were doing it for? And how many slides did you have in the deck?
My 10-minute one, that was 7. Always had the introduction, kind of introducing me and the product itself. It was originally called Urban Air Reimagined. Way too long of a name, so I changed it. And then my last one was my contact information and like a thank you. But those 5 slides in between had all the information and covered like financials, the business model, things like that about my product.
Okay. Great. So, Mohamed, let's talk about you. Were you able to use a slide deck for your presentations?
For the first one, no, I was not allowed. I was not allowed to have slides. But like for the next competition, I have slides with me, and I think they were very helpful to deliver the message.
Okay, great. And what tool did you use to put your slide deck together?
PowerPoint.
You did PowerPoint. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. One use PowerPoint here, one use Canva to do it, and so those are both. If you're out there looking for some tools to kind of to do it, those are 2 great tools there. As Mia said, Canva has some templates there that you can use if you're not familiar with Canva. Now, I don't know if that's on the free version there or you got to have a paid version to do some of that in Canva or not. So. But check those out as 2 possible ones to do it, to kind of put your slide decks in. How many slides did you have in your deck, Mohamed?
So from 8 to 10 slides, and I prefer to have it this way in all the competitions, because the more slides you have, the more you risk overwhelming your audience with lots of slides. So I prefer like from 8 to 10, and that's usually for 5 minutes.
Okay, great. So I'm here. I'm anywhere. So Mia had 5 or so. You had 8 to 10 or so. So yeah, I probably would say most decks that I've seen are no more than about 10 slides max, probably, that I've seen. You just don't. You're just not gonna have enough time to get it all in if you in a 3-5 minute pitch or so. If you got more than that. So that's good advice there. If you guys are listening out there in the audience, think about that. Think about keeping as condensed as possible. You really want to. You like I said, you really don't want to have all your verbiage on a slide. Yeah, that you're supposed to be telling them the verbiage, the slide. I tell people like this: that your slide deck is kind of to help keep you on track. So to make sure that you're covering all the points. Most competitions, they give you a matrix or something of what they're going to score you on, and you want to make sure that you're hitting all those points. And so making sure your slides are getting you there, that you'll cover all the points that they're going to score you on. Because the worst thing you want to happen is you do great and they got 5 areas they're going to score you on. You get the max and all 4 areas are there, but you forget to do 1, and then you get 0 points in there, and it brings your overall score down. So I always tell people, make sure use that deck as kind of a guide for you, not for you to just sit there and read right off the slide. I literally saw one guy. He had a slide deck, and when he got up there, he had a 3-ring binder with stuff in there. He's actually ready for the 3-ring binder, and I'm like just shaking my head, like, no, that's the wrong way to do it. That's the wrong way to do it. But you learn as you go and stuff. So let's talk about practicing though. So I heard both of you said, not necessarily practice makes perfect, but practice may help you get over some of those jitters and make you feel more comfortable with it and so forth. So, Mia, you told us about that second one you kind of had to memorize, but in general, how long do you practice? And do you practice with somebody normally, or just practice in front of the mirror, or just to yourself? Or how do you normally do it?
So I typically start by practicing by myself. Now that I know I don't want to memorize it, I go over it. Like I put like bullet points on note cards, and I start by practicing then going through my own slides. And then once I'm more comfortable, I have my body language adjusted, I'll present to my friends, and then suddenly a few friends, and they'll give me feedback about my mannerisms, how I'm speaking, what I should emphasize more. And to me, that's also really helpful. At GVSU, we also have the speech lab, which I've used before, and that is very helpful.
Okay, great. Have you ever recorded yourself ahead of time and play it back and watch yourself?
That's a great idea, but it's hard for me to listen to myself on recordings. I don't know if this is other people's problem, but hearing your own voice, that's a problem for me. So
that's a common thing. Most people hate their own voice.
Yeah.
They say, I sound like that. I said, really? Is that us? Yeah, really? That's how you sound. So sometimes we're our hardest critic when it comes to that. So Mohamed, how do you go about practicing? Do you practice with somebody, with your partner, with a friend, by yourself? How do you go about practicing? Because you bring it up, it's about something to do to ease the nerves.
So there's many ways that I use to practice for that type of situation. First, I practice with my mentor. I do the speech for the pitch, and then I show him with the slides, and then we see the time, how long did it take, and then I do it on my own without having anyone listen to me or see what I'm how am I presenting it. And the best way also to have I don't really memorize the words, but I care more about the tone of saying the words and sentences. So I record myself doing the speech, and then I listen to it all the time for 2 days, 3 days, while working out, while driving. I'm hearing my voice saying it. So once I'm in front of the people and now it's time to pitch, I will I'm already ready to do it.
Okay, great. So as Mohamed said, there could be a number of ways to practice, but I think that the point is that you do need to practice, that kind of to get it down and make sure you're hitting the right points and making sure that your kind of timing, your mannerisms are right. And I always stress too, to make sure that you get that time down so you don't run over time, and where you can get all your points by, you can get through your deck, appropriately and get all the points out and stuff. Let me ask you about judges though. So normally after a pitch, the judges get to ask you a few questions, some about your pitch. Now, sometimes they may bring up, stuff that you mentioned sometime in your pitch, sometimes maybe stuff that you didn't mention in your pitch. But I want to ask you this: has there ever been questions from the judges that you felt that you didn't have a good answer to? A question from a judge? So, Mia, I'll let you jump in first on this.
All right. So it was actually my first pitch competition. And for me, it was, okay, where's your prototype? And I just had to explain to them, well, currently I actually don't have a working prototype. Like, I'm a businesswoman. I'm not an engineering person. That was something I struggled with a lot, as well as the financial application of Aether, just because I'm also not a finance student and financial projections aren't really my forte. However, other questions I was able to answer pretty well, as long as I knew my business model and my product and the reason why I was doing this.
Okay, great. So, Mohamed, I'm gonna ask you the same question, but I'm about the sun is peering through my window, so I'm gonna close my shade right quick and take a sip of water, and then we'll come right back. And I'm gonna ask you that same question, Mohamed, in terms of judges. Think about judges and have they asked you questions that you had a hard time answering. Hang on.
Okay.
Hey, I'm back. Okay, great. Okay, Mohamed. So, has there been questions that judges have asked you that you had a hard time answering?
Yeah, so usually I like the type of questions I expect is always like a question either about the slides, like the presentation I just had, or something that I verbally said in the pitch. But like I don't expect, usually I don't really expect questions about the product itself, or that was my mistake, like not expecting to be asked a question about the product. So one of the questions that I was asked by a judge was like, what if the gun that should be detected, what if the gun has a silencer? So that was very that was out of the scope of what I was focusing at for the past like week or two. So it confused me a bit, and I didn't know what was the best answer to give. And then I learned from this that like walking into a pitch competition, I need to know everything, not only about the presentation I'm presenting, but also about the product itself, anything really that can be asked in that type of competition.
Okay, great. Yeah, sometimes the judges they'll ask you something really odd. Most judges I found, which I think is good for people doing pitches, if you can actually find out who the judges are ahead of time, if they let you know, you may want to investigate them a little bit, to Google them or something to kind of find out their background. Because if I'm a finance guy, coming up, I'm probably more concerned about the money. If I'm a marketing person, I'm concerned more about how you present your market. So sometimes it can help you kind of anticipate maybe what a judge may ask based on their background, because they probably have certain hot buttons or triggers and stuff for them. And so, but those kind of questions like that come out of left field, it's kind of curious sometimes. You kind of get stuck. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't really want to make up a story about it, because they'll see through that as well. So do the best you can to prepare, kind of find out who your judge, finding out who your judges are. When you're doing your practice sessions, particularly with somebody, ask them to ask you questions. See what questions they may have, because they may have come up with some questions too that you didn't think about. Hey, well, what about this? What about that? So once again, that practice can help with that. Okay, great. So Mohamed, you worked with this is an SBDC produced show, so I got to ask about the SBDC. So, Mohamed, I believe you work with some of our technology consultants regarding your product. Mia, I don't know if you've worked with anybody at the SBDC, but Mohamed, can you tell us what type of assistance did the SBDC help you with in preparing for your pitches?
Yeah, so I worked with Mr. Scott Tyler. He's from the tech team at Michigan SBDC, and it was like a very helpful experience. It changed my perspective about like how to have a good pitch, like from A to Z. Like the type of help I received was like focused one-on-one, and like on each slide there was lots of discussions and also like lots of criticism and advice. So it was a very like helpful experience that I learned a lot from.
Okay, great. Well, shout out to Scott Taylor, now one of our technology consultants within SBDC. I know they work with a lot of folks with several pitch competitions, as well as a lot of our regional offices and things as well. Mia, I don't know if you work with anybody at the SBDC along the way with any of yours that you.
I have not yet.
Okay, well, that's okay. You still got a chance too. The SBDC has been around for over 40 years, and so we're not going anywhere. And there should be one, no matter where you're at in the state of Michigan, there should be one near you because we have 10 regional centers. And even after you guys graduate, if you wind up moving out of the state of Michigan, this is a national program, so there should be an SBDC somewhere near you. You just have to just Google Small Business Development Center, and you should be able to find the nearest one near you in any state where you go to. So, and the services are no cost to you at all. And so once again, you won't lose anything but your time, and we do work confidentially. So yeah, if you haven't used this, maybe give us a try at some point in the future. And those that's listening as well, feel free to engage with us to see if we can help. We can. If we won't, we'll tell you. So great. So we got a few minutes left. So I want to talk about what have, besides, winning money, have you guys found, other benefits that came about from being in a competition? Did it help you make some connections or help you, think through your business model better? What are other benefits other than the money by being in a competition? Mia, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go first. Absolutely. For me, definitely my interpersonal skills, my social skills have improved significantly. I mean, now I don't need flashcards to rely on when I start public speaking. I feel more comfortable talking in front of a crowd. My second competition, the one I actually walked away from, is how I got my internship, oddly enough, with a startup called Better Health. I walked off stage. I was horrified. She found me on LinkedIn. She reached out and she was like, "Want to go get coffee?" She was like, "I was there. I saw you. Like, you have it." And she was like, "Look, everybody makes mistakes. That's perfectly fine." She was like, "I want you to work for me this summer." And I was, first of all, shocked. I was like, "Wait, seriously?" Like, this was something I saw as like one of my biggest failures. And here I was getting an internship from it.
Wow. That's a big silver lining in that glass. That was a big silver lining.
Yeah.
So Mohamed, what about you? Have there been any other benefits like going through competitions that you've had happen to you just by pitching that exposure?
Yeah, actually, like one of the things that I've learned the most is that nothing is impossible. Like because I think a year ago I was not able to like do any of this, and now I'm winning like the first and second and all that. So the thing, like what I learned the more, like, is that the more you practice something, the more you expose yourself and go out of your comfort zone, the more you will gain things, and not only in competitions but in life in general. So that's the thing that I really learned by participating in that.
Great. I think the lesson in this is that you never know who may be out there listening to your pitch. I try to attend as many pitch competitions as I can go to, but like I said, there could be possible funders, other business people that maybe want to invest or hire you for something and stuff for your business. You just never know. So I think the more of these things you can get into, the better, because it'll give you exposure. And I think it just tends to give you confidence going forward in terms of like anything in life, the more you do it, I think the more comfortable you get with doing it, on that. So that's good. I want to ask you before we wrap up, I got about 2 more questions here I want to ask you. So have you guys been involved in any virtual pitches? I know most of these seem like they were live pitches, but you have been involved in any virtual ones as well?
I have not.
What about you, Mohamed? Have you been involved in any virtual pitches versus live pitches?
Yeah, I have done
So
both.
tell me kind of the difference between how the experience going through a virtual pitch versus a live pitch. How's that different?
Yeah, obviously there's like things that in the virtual pitch that's very limiting, such as like for example in a live pitch you can see like the reactions, the face reactions of the people, so you can like somehow communicate with them. But in a virtual one you can't, like you don't see anything. So the power in the virtual pitch is more in the tone of voice and the visuals that you're showing to them.
Okay,
so
great.
that's the only difference.
Okay, so bear in mind, yes, but there's both and there's tricks to both. So, okay, my last question before we wrap up for you guys is, you got to give me your number one tip, I guess, for those that's looking to enter contests or looking to up their game and win. What would you give us number one tip for winning pitch competitions? So, Mia, what's your number one tip?
So I know I've already said don't memorize and practice. So kind of my more out of the box one I would say is questions are a good thing. Besides, what is your business model? Don't be afraid of questions. Know your business model, know your product, know what you're selling, know what you're there for, and the questions are significantly easier to answer.
Okay, super. Great answer on that. And Mohamed, what about you? Give us one tip you would give those watching for entering and winning pitch competitions.
Yeah, I think the most powerful tip for a pitch competition is not like preparing more or practicing more or having more body language. It's more about believing in the impact of your idea. The more you believe in it, the more you will have a powerful pitch. I feel that's the most thing that helped me.
Absolutely. That's great advice. You got to believe in it. Super. Well, great, guys. Well, I think that's about our time today. I certainly want to thank both of you for being on the program today. This has been great advice to wrap up the year for us for this year. We may be back next year with more of these, not sure yet, but this year has been great. We've done 5 episodes. You can always go back and watch those on YouTube for our viewers there. And we just want to thank you so much with your endeavors. Thank you, so much for being on the show. Keep at your school, and because we want you to graduate and go out and do great things. So keep doing what you're doing. We're so impressed with you guys, and hopefully I've learned a lot, and hopefully our viewers learned a lot from this as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, now we got to wrap up. So I got a couple of things I want to talk about just to wrap us up. We want to mention our resources here that we got at the SBDC. You can always sign up to get on our mailing list. You can watch these videos on YouTube, as we talked about as well, to go back. And we do have our startup guide. You can get most of our materials are going through the website at michigansbdc.org. Also, a few upcoming things we got coming up, webinars here that you may have interest in. You can find these at the website too, michigansbdc.org. These are a few of the webinars coming up. And then next year, we're going to be doing a big resource fair for National Small Business Week, the first full week of May, like May 3rd through the 9th. Keep an eye out for that on our channel, on our email, for activities during National Small Business Week. And that'll be in the Grand Rapids area. And finally, how to get a hold of us. I kind of mentioned this before. You can reach out to michigansbdc.org. You can email us at sbdc@gbsu. Call us toll free. And if you're anywhere in the country, you can find out your nearest SBDC office by going to americassbdc.org. And with that, we're going to wrap up our final episode for this year. We thank you for joining for the broadcast. I hope you watched some of the series, but you didn't go back. You can watch it all. We may do this one, as I mentioned, next year, but we enjoy you being with us this year for Meet the Contestants Behind the Pitch. Have a good rest of the afternoon. Bye now.